I'm Mark Smaller. I'm a psychoanalyst. I've been practicing psychoanalysis for over 20 years and been practicing psychotherapy for over 35 years. The association needs to be a part of helping institutes to do what's necessary in terms of the structure of their organizations, the focus, their curriculums, and educating new candidates. You know, that I think the American Psychoanalytic Association can be a resource to help local groups do that and do that well in order to attract candidates, to make curriculums contemporary that will attract students and potential candidates, not when they're 40, 50, or 60 years old, but when they're in their 20s or in their early 30s. We can do it by way of fellows programs locally or the fellowship program that we have nationally. We can do that by way of updating curriculums, by including research, not just the case study method, but also research having to do that is empirical in a quantitative sense.
Suppose they have similar problems to psychoanalysis everywhere, which is a sort of increasing marginalization, a need to get with it, I suppose, to get more into the mainstream of what's going on scientifically and clinically and socially in the 21st century.
My goal is to facilitate structural change, governance, or any changes on the executive council that will really facilitate everyone's love and passion for psychoanalysis, and that's my goal.
Mark Smaller has a very winning personality. He's also completely dedicated to the most important fundamental values of psychoanalysis.
Mark's whole position is one of seeing the future of psychoanalysis, and I think he can be an effective leader to get us out of the doldrums of endless discussion of minuscule, unimportant matters and into the work of making psychoanalysis again the vibrant, lively field it has been in the past.
I have a particular interest in applying psychoanalysis to social issues. I've chaired the Social Issues Committee for many years, and my school project is really one of the best examples, but I've always been involved in using or applying or speaking out in the community, making psychoanalysis as available to the general public as possible, and applying psychoanalytic ideas to what I call the psychoanalytic ideas of everyday life.
Since Dr. Smaller came about, I think that my staff has benefited from understanding a little more of behavior. There's a reaction to every behavior, but there's a reason for that behavior.
There's too much trauma in their life for academics to mean anything to them when they're coming to class and somebody they know has been killed.
It was very clear that all of the students need a place to work out some things that they ordinarily wouldn't work out.
If we had not had those services here, that Dr. Smaller has been so kind to provide and to assist us with in this development of our program, I don't think that our success rate will be as high.
Many local groups will say, how is this going to help us in terms of attracting candidates or educating candidates? If we have a program out in a school that we're using, psychotherapy graduates or graduates from our, psychoanalytic program, you cannot attract new patients or prospective candidates by just staying inside your institute.
But he's also in charge of our fundraiser in terms of mental health services, and he is pretty much the only one out there trying to gather funds to be able to support the program that we have, which we find to be very successful.
Every decision, that I have any impact on in the executive council, it's all going to be organized about what's going to take us forward, what's going to take psychoanalysis. We just celebrated our 100th anniversary. I want to make sure that we're going to be around for another 100 years.
I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody else who enjoys doing what he does as much as Mark.
He also has a clear, systematic mind, a practical, hands-on sort of attitude, a can-do attitude.
Mark Smaller is grounded in the real world. He's more concerned about the future of psychoanalysis than infighting in our organization. He's been a proponent and advocate of psychoanalysis for years in the media, has written numerous letters to the editor, and has tried to get the public to understand sort of what it is about our point of view that's so special.
I think that Mark Smaller is a breath of fresh air for psychoanalysis at a time when it's gasping for oxygen.
I think he'd be a phenomenal president and is one of the most exciting and outspoken people that I know in psychoanalysis today.